Hi there guys, I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech, and in this video I will be unboxing the Redmi K20. Now this is supposed to be the smaller variant or the second best Redmi phone out there, at least in India, and I was really excited to know about the pricing. That's obviously the only thing that's not available, and after the launch the pricing has been pretty disappointed. With that said, this phone still packs a lot of cool things like that AMOLED display, pop-up camera, and it also has some cool new software features like dark mode and always on display. So let's unbox this phone and see what this phone has to offer. Now with that said, let's get started. So guys, here's the box, and the box packaging or the overall design looks pretty similar to the latest Redmi phone that we have just unboxed. That's the Redmi 7A. So we have a quick preview of how the phone looks on the front with Redmi K20, that's the name, with that pop-up camera on the front. That's for a quick preview. And on the sides, once again, we just have the phone's name on the left side and right side. And on the back, we have the most highlighting features like the triple camera setup, pop-up front camera, processor, and the AMOLED display. So right now, this is currently the cheapest Redmi phone with an AMOLED display, and that's still priced about 22,000 rupees. Anyway guys, let's just get on with the unboxing. So it's pretty simple, just two seals over here and we are done. So once we open it up, we have a cardboard box which probably has some card ejector, some documentation. So that's all we got. So here's the free case that we get inside the box. It's a hard plastic case with a nice matte texture on the back. It definitely helps with the grip, but not so much in terms of drop protection. It also says Redmi, designed by Xiaomi. So let me just put that aside. Next we have the phone itself. Okay, so let me just put that aside for now. So next we have the 18 watts per adapter. So you do get a fast charger inside the box, which is pretty rare for a Xiaomi phone, even at 22,000 rupees. Next we have the USB Type-C charging cable. So guys, these are all the contents of the box. There are no free earphones. So that's all we get. Now let's just come back to the phone. So on the front you do get a sticker with once again the same old highlighting features. Let me just remove that. I guess this is not supposed to come off. Now on the back we get another sticker with IMEI numbers and so on. Let me just remove that as well. And now we are done. So guys, this is how the phone looks. This is the flamey red color or the red color, and there you go, those are the flames. And this is how the phone looks on the back, and this is how it looks on the front. So guys, now let's have a quick physical overview and then check out the specifications. So guys, on the back this phone has a 3D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5 for protection, and you also get that Aurora Prime design underneath that glass to give you that flaming look. It also has a two-tone finish where you get two different effects depending on the lighting conditions. In dim lighting conditions, this is how it looks like, and in good lighting conditions, this is how your phone will look like. Anyway, at the center we have the triple camera setup with the first camera having that holographic ring. Following that is a dual camera setup with a slight bit of bump to them. Next we have dual LED flash, and at the bottom it says Redmi, designed by Xiaomi. Now on the front you got that massive Horizon AMOLED display. Above the display we have just the earpiece, and below the display it's completely plain. Now for the sides, the entire frame is made of aluminium. Now on the right side you get the power and volume buttons with the same color as the rim. They are made of metal, they have a nice clicky feel to them, but I wish they were a bit more elevated. Now at the top you have an antenna band followed by secondary microphone for noise cancellation, 3.5mm audio jack, and that pop-up selfie camera. On the left side it is completely plain with just a single antenna band. At the bottom it has two antenna bands, SIM card tray housing two nano SIM slots along with a Type-C charging cable, primary microphone, and a mono speaker grill. Now with all this phone has a thickness of 8.8mm and weighs 191 grams. Now in hand this phone doesn't feel thick or thinner, and when it comes to weight, it has a bit of weight to it. It once again doesn't feel all that heavy or all that light. It feels like a solid phone with a nice bit of weight to it. Now these are the complete specifications of the phone. On the rear it has a triple camera setup with a 48 megapixel primary camera with f1.75 aperture and Sony IMX582 sensor. That's followed by an 8 megapixel camera with f2.4 aperture with telephoto lens that offers you 2x optical zoom. Next you have a 13 megapixel camera with f2.4 aperture and 124.8 degree field of view. So that's a super wide angle lens. Now for selfies it has a 20 megapixel pop-up camera with f2.2 aperture. Now this front camera has sapphire glass cover for additional protection. It also has drop protection, press protection, and it has been tested 300,000 times. Now on the front you get a 6.39-inch Horizon AMOLED display with Full HD Plus resolution, 403 ppi with 600 nits of brightness with smaller bezels all around, giving it 91.9% screen to body ratio. It even has a 2.5D curved Corning Gorilla Glass 5 for additional protection. By the way guys, this phone also supports HDR, it has 100% DCI P3 color gamut, and it also has always on display and supports dark mode, which I'll be showing you in a minute. Now under the hood, this phone sports a Snapdragon 730 processor with Adreno 618 GPU, with 6GB of RAM and 64GB of storage, running MIUI 10 based on Android 9.0, that's Android Pie, and finally it has a 4000 mAh battery. So guys, those are the complete specifications. Now let's check out this case. Now let me put on the case and test it out. So this is how the phone looks with the case on. It has a teeny tiny raised lip on the front, so in terms of display protection, this case is completely useless. So never place your phone directly on its face when you're using this case. Now on the back, it has a teeny tiny raised lip even for the rear camera module, especially for the two cameras over here. It's almost negligible. I will recommend you to get a better case as soon as possible. Now besides that, phone fits pretty comfortably in the hand. This case feels pretty great. It is still a tiny bit slippery, but as you can see there are no smudges, so that's pretty cool. And even with the case on, buttons are nice and clickable. They feel kind of soft right now, they don't have that clicky feel to it, but still they are very clickable. So guys, now let me turn on the phone and set it up and come back to you in a second. So guys, this is how the phone looks once we turn it on and set it up, and this is your default launcher, this is your default home screen, and on the left side we have the smart assistant with the different widgets, and you can swipe up for the app drop. So this phone comes with Poco Launcher pre-installed. So that's pretty cool. Now as you can see, these are all the apps that come pre-installed, and there is quite a bit of bloatware, and you can probably uninstall them by doing that. So I wish it could have come without any bloatware, but this is what we got. So this is your default launcher. Now let's go to settings and check out the storage section. By the way guys, I've used this phone for about 24 hours, so storage information has changed a bit, but right out of the box you get about 51.5GB of space for your user apps and user data. Now this is the base variant and that's all you get, and this one doesn't even have a SD card slot. If you're hungry for memory and you want more storage, it's better to get a bigger variant. Now let's check out the about page. This phone is running MIUI version 10.3.3 based on Android 9.0, that's Android Pie. Right now it has May security patch, but as you have just seen, I already got an update just right out of the box with June security patch and some more bug fixes. So I'll update it later. So for now, this is how the phone looks right out of the box. Now with that said, let's check out the camera interface. Now this is the interface for the rear camera, and it looks pretty similar to all the other regular Xiaomi phones except for this dial over here. By default, this phone is using the primary camera, and if you click on the right side, you get 2x optical zoom. Now this phone has a triple camera setup, and this over here is the camera with telephoto lens, that's 2x optical zoom. This camera at the center is the 48 megapixel camera, and at the bottom we have the wide angle camera. So coming back to the interface, so this is the interface, and by default it always opens up in the primary camera at 1x zoom, and if you click this dot on the right side you get the 2x optical zoom, and if you click the leftmost button or leftmost dot you get to use the wide angle camera. So this wide angle camera is pretty wide, wider than most phones in this price segment. It has 124-degree field of view, and that's pretty wide. Now if you look at the rest of the interface, we have a dedicated mode to take pictures in 48 megapixel, that's 48M mode. Next we have the portrait mode, and over here we have some cool options. At the center we have the option to change the aperture. So unlike other phones, on this phone you can change the amount of background blur effect you want before taking a picture, and even after taking a picture you can do that. Next we have a button over here for 3D lighting effects. So we have different lighting effects like natural, stage, and movie, and many more. So that's portrait mode. Next we have dedicated night mode, which is supposed to take better pictures in low lighting conditions. Next we have panorama, and finally the pro mode on the right side. Now if we go back to the left side, this is video recording, and we can record video in 4K resolution at 30 fps, and that's it. We can't record video in 60 fps even though this hardware supports it. Next, this phone also supports electronic image stabilization while recording video, which is a pretty good thing. Next we have slow motion video recording, and this phone also supports 960 fps, so that's pretty cool, and you can change it further by just clicking over there. Next we have short video, which is like a new feature on all the Xiaomi phones. Now let's check the front facing camera, and here it is, the pop-up camera, and as you have just heard and seen, it makes a pretty annoying sound, and even the motor sound is pretty audible. I tried to disable that tune, but I couldn't find any setting. If you know where to find it, let me know. Next, this phone also comes with portrait mode obviously, but this phone also has the option to change the aperture, so that's pretty cool. Next, you also get the 3D lighting effects, so that's there as well. And for video recording, we can record video in 1080p resolution using the front camera. And this phone even supports electronic image stabilization for the front camera. And as you have just seen, the front camera has popped down, so if you're not going to use the front camera for a long time, it's going to auto retract. Now when we go back to the camera interface, it'll pop up once again. Now the glass protecting this front facing camera is actually made of sapphire, so you don't have to worry about it getting scratched. And it also has that drop protection, so whenever it detects a fall, it should auto retract like that. And it also has press protection, I guess that's what it's called. So when someone presses it hardly, it auto retracts. So that's pretty cool. Let me just try that once again. So I'll try to press it and it went down. So I guess that's press protection. So that was the camera interface, and now these are some sample pictures. So guys, now let's check out the speaker loudness.
Close till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. Peace is leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go. Times when it doesn't really matter.
So guys, speaker on this phone is pretty loud, probably the loudest in the price segment. Definitely sufficient for media consumption, ringtones and alarms, and even the overall quality is pretty good so far. Now let's test the fingerprint scanner. I've already set it up, so here we go. And it is pretty fast. It's still not as fast as your regular fingerprint scanner, it takes like half a second, but that's definitely usable. Now let's try face unlock feature. So for it to work, this is what you need to do. So unlike Oppo, Vivo and even the OnePlus phones, we can't use it automatically. So to use face unlock feature, first we need to go to the lock screen and then do a swipe up gesture. It then unlocks the phone using facial data. And yes, it also makes that annoying sound every time you try to use face unlock. And as you can see, it's pretty slow as well. Now let's test it in low lighting conditions. For this phone, I'll probably never use face unlock because of all the inconvenience. It just takes too much time and makes that annoying sound every time. So I'd rather not use it at all. Now this is the K20 Pro, and this phone also has some cool new features. Like in the camera application, I've just seen a new palm gesture. So we just need to enable it from there, and I can show my palm to take a picture in 3 seconds. So that's pretty cool, and that's a new feature. Next, this one also has a new dark mode. So to enable it, you need to go to settings and select display settings. And we have the dark mode over here. And now it looks pretty cool. I've always tried to find a good theme to have a dark mode, but right now it comes pre-installed right out of the box. And it does look pretty cool. Next, this one also has always on display feature, but Xiaomi for some reason calls it ambient display. So to enable it, you need to go to settings, display, and then select ambient display. And once you turn it on, you can have the ambient display always on. That's basically always on display. So there you go, this is the always on display, and it has a lot of cool widgets and cool new looks. And to change that, you just need to click over here, and these are all the different styles. So let's try that. So there we go. Now before I conclude, these are the Antutu and Geekbench scores. So guys, this is the Redmi K20. Well, it definitely lived up to the expectation. It's cool, fingerprint scanner is surprisingly faster, and pop-up camera is surprisingly annoying. With the future update, we might be able to get rid of some annoying stuff like that sound it makes. Let me just show you that once again. So that's that annoying sound. So you might be able to get rid of that with a future update. But on the whole, phone definitely lived up to its expectations. It was pretty cool, especially this flame thing is awesome. Now, the only disappointing thing about this phone would definitely be that pricing. Now, at a price tag of 18,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees, this would have been a killer deal, and I would have definitely recommended you to get this phone without any doubts. But at a price tag of 22,000 rupees for just 64 gigabytes of storage without SD card slot, I really don't know, or should I say, I really can't suggest you this phone. So if you're planning to buy a phone around 20,000 rupees, I would recommend you to get Redmi K20 Pro, or I'll recommend you to go with the Realme X, which almost offers you similar package with a Snapdragon 710 processor, but the primary camera on the Realme X is the same one that we have seen on the Redmi K20 Pro. So at a cheaper price, you're getting a much better value than this phone and better cameras as well. So guys, with all this said and done, would you really consider buying this phone? Do let me know by commenting below this video, and if you're planning to buy this phone, I'll be asking you shamelessly, use the link in the description. It always helps the channel. And if you have any questions about this phone, or if you want us to make any specific video, tweet out to us with the hashtag AskGreedyTech on Twitter, and we will try to make it as soon as possible. I'm Nikhil from GreedyTech signing off. Have a nice day.